Wine has always been sold to us as something elegant, sophisticated, even healthy. A glass of red wine a day, antioxidants, heart health. That's the story we've been told for decades. But what if I told you that many of the wine bottles sitting on grocery store shelves are hiding ingredients you were never meant to drink? Ingredients that don't belong in something marketed as natural, pure, or artisan. Here's the shocking truth. Most wine brands are not required to list their ingredients. That means sugars, chemical preservatives, artificial coloring, flavor enhancers, and even pesticide residues can end up in your glass, and you'd never know. Some wines contain added sulfites far beyond what your body can tolerate, while others are loaded with residual sugar designed to make cheap wine taste smoother and more addictive. And it doesn't stop there. Many mass-produced wines are made from grapes sprayed with heavy pesticides, harvested too early, and chemically manipulated in factories rather than crafted naturally. These shortcuts don't just affect taste. They can contribute to headaches, inflammation, bloating, fatigue, and that terrible wine hangover that feels way worse than it should. What makes this even more dangerous is that these wines are often the most popular ones. The brands people bring to dinner parties, the bottles discounted at grocery stores, the labels you've seen 100 times and trusted without question. But here's the good news. Not all wine is bad. There are brands that respect the process, avoid unnecessary chemicals, use cleaner farming practices, and produce wine your body can actually tolerate better. Wines that don't rely on sugar bombs and chemical tricks to taste good. In this video, we're exposing the wine brands you should avoid at all costs. And later, we'll show you the few options that are actually worth your money and your health. If you drink wine, or even think you're drinking the good stuff, you'll want to watch this until the end. 1. Barefoot wine. Barefoot wine is one of the most recognizable wine brands in the world, largely because of its bright labels, playful branding, and extremely low price point. However, behind the casual image sits a product that raises serious concerns for health-conscious consumers. Barefoot wines are mass-produced at an industrial scale, which means the focus is consistency and shelf life rather than quality, transparency, or ingredient integrity. To achieve this, the brand relies heavily on aggressive processing methods that strip away many of the natural characteristics found in traditionally made wine. One of the biggest red flags with Barefoot wine is the likely use of added sugars and flavor adjustments. While wine is naturally fermented from grapes, large commercial producers often manipulate sweetness, acidity, and mouthfeel after fermentation to ensure the product tastes the same year after year. This results in a wine that drinks smoothly, but may contain residual sugars that spike blood sugar and contribute to inflammation when consumed regularly. For people trying to reduce sugar intake, this becomes a hidden problem because wine labels do not disclose nutrition facts. Another concern is the potential use of chemical additives. Commercial wines like Barefoot may use stabilizers, artificial coloring agents, and sulfites at higher levels to prevent spoilage and extend shelf life during global distribution. Excess sulfites are known to trigger headaches, congestion, and digestive discomfort in many people, especially those sensitive to preservatives. Because U.S. regulations do not require full ingredient disclosure, consumers are left guessing what exactly is inside the bottle. Barefoot also sources grapes from large-scale industrial vineyards, where pesticide and herbicide use is common. These chemicals can leave trace residues in the final product, especially when grapes are not organically grown. While the amounts may fall within legal limits, repeated exposure over time is a growing concern among researchers studying cumulative toxin intake. Wine made from conventionally farmed grapes is one of the most chemically treated agricultural products in the world. Finally, Barefoot's extremely low price is itself a warning sign. Quality wine production requires careful vineyard management, slower fermentation, and minimal intervention, all of which cost money. When a bottle sells for only a few dollars, something has been sacrificed in the process. In this case, it is usually grape quality, production integrity, and transparency. While Barefoot wine may be convenient and widely available, it is far from a clean or health-friendly option and should be consumed cautiously, if at all. 2. Yellowtail wine. Yellowtail wine has built its global success on simplicity, affordability, and mass appeal, but those same factors make it a brand many experts recommend avoiding. Produced on a massive scale in Australia and exported worldwide, Yellowtail prioritizes volume and consistency over craftsmanship and purity. The result is a wine designed to taste familiar and inoffensive, rather than one that reflects natural fermentation or high-quality grape sourcing. A major issue with Yellowtail is the manipulation of flavor profiles. To appeal to the widest audience possible, the wine is engineered to be smooth, slightly sweet, and easy to drink. This often involves leaving residual sugar after fermentation or adding grape concentrates to balance acidity. For consumers trying to avoid excess sugar, this can be misleading, as wine is often perceived as a low-sugar beverage. In reality, some Yellowtail varieties contain sugar levels closer to flavored alcoholic drinks than traditional dry wines. Processing methods are another concern. Large producers frequently rely on industrial techniques such as rapid fermentation, heat treatment, and chemical stabilization to accelerate production and prevent spoilage. These methods can destroy beneficial polyphenols and antioxidants naturally found in grapes, reducing any potential health benefits associated with moderate wine consumption. What remains is alcohol with fewer protective compounds and more additives. Yellowtail wines also contain sulfites, which are used to preserve freshness during long shipping and storage periods. While sulfites occur naturally in wine, commercial brands often add extra amounts. Many drinkers report headaches, flushing, or fatigue after consuming heavily sulfited wines, even in small quantities. For sensitive individuals, this makes Yellowtail a poor choice. Additionally, the grapes used are typically grown using conventional farming practices that may involve synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. Wine grapes are not peeled before processing, meaning residues can pass directly into the final product. Over time, repeated exposure to these chemicals may contribute to inflammation and other health issues. Yellowtail's branding suggests a fun, carefree product, but its production tells a different story. Highly processed, chemically stabilized, and engineered for mass consumption, it lacks the transparency and quality found in cleaner wine options. For those seeking a healthier relationship with alcohol, Yellowtail is a brand best left on the shelf. 3. Franzia wine. Franzia wine is best known for its boxed packaging and ultra-low pricing, but those same features signal why it is one of the wine brands many experts advise avoiding. Franzia is produced for maximum efficiency, long shelf life, and mass consumption rather than quality, purity, or health considerations. Boxed wine may seem convenient, but the production process behind Franzia raises multiple red flags for consumers who care about what they are putting into their bodies. One major concern with Franzia is extreme processing. To maintain flavor stability for months after opening, the wine is heavily filtered, chemically stabilized, and treated to prevent oxidation. These steps strip away naturally occurring antioxidants and polyphenols that are often associated with wine's potential health benefits. What remains is largely alcohol, sugar, and added compounds designed to mimic a pleasant taste rather than reflect authentic winemaking. Sugar content is another issue. Franzia wines are engineered to appeal to a broad audience, which often means sweeter flavor profiles. Residual sugars are commonly left in the wine or adjusted after fermentation to ensure consistency across massive batches. This added sweetness can contribute to blood sugar spikes, weight gain, and inflammation, especially when consumed regularly. Because wine labels do not list sugar amounts, many consumers underestimate how much they are actually consuming. Franzia also relies on conventional grape sourcing from large-scale industrial vineyards. These vineyards often use synthetic pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides to maximize yield and reduce costs. Wine grapes are among the most chemically treated crops, and since the skins are fermented directly into the wine, chemical residues can remain present in the final product. Over time, repeated exposure to these residues may contribute to toxin buildup in the body. Another overlooked issue is sulfite concentration. Franzia uses added sulfites to preserve freshness during transportation and extended storage. While sulfites occur naturally, higher added levels can trigger headaches, digestive issues, and allergic-like reactions in sensitive individuals. Boxed wine often requires higher stabilization than bottled wine due to oxygen exposure after opening. Finally, the packaging itself raises concerns. While modern wine boxes are marketed as safe, they still involve plastic liners that remain in constant contact with alcohol. Alcohol can act as a solvent, increasing the risk of chemical leaching over time, particularly when stored in warm environments. Combined with aggressive processing, sugar manipulation, and chemical stabilization, Franzia represents a wine made for convenience, not well-being, making it a brand best avoided. 4. Carlo Rossi wine. Carlo Rossi wine has long been associated with large format bottles and budget-friendly pricing, but its mass market appeal comes at a cost. Designed to be accessible and consistent, Carlo Rossi wines are produced in enormous quantities, prioritizing efficiency and shelf stability rather than grape quality or minimal intervention. This approach creates a product that may be easy to drink but raises serious concerns for health-conscious consumers. One of the primary issues with Carlo Rossi wine is heavy manipulation during production. To achieve uniform taste taste across millions of bottles, the wine is often adjusted for sweetness, acidity, and texture after fermentation. This process can involve grape concentrates and residual sugars that make the wine smoother but significantly increase its sugar content. Many drinkers assume wine is naturally dry, yet mass-produced brands like Carlo Rossi often contain hidden sugars that can disrupt metabolic health. Chemical additives are another concern. To ensure long-term stability, Carlo Rossi wines may contain added sulfites, fining agents, and preservatives. High sulfite levels are commonly linked to headaches, sinus pressure, flushing, and fatigue, particularly among individuals sensitive to preservatives. Since ingredient transparency is not required, consumers are left unaware of the full chemical profile of the wine they are drinking. Grape sourcing also plays a role. Carlo Rossi relies heavily on conventionally farmed vineyards, where chemical pesticides and fertilizers are commonly used to boost yield. These chemicals can remain on grape skins and enter the fermentation process, potentially leaving trace residues in the final wine. Over time, cumulative exposure to such residues is increasingly associated with inflammation and oxidative stress. Another factor is alcohol balance. Carlo Rossi wines are engineered to be smooth and easy to drink, which can mask the alcohol content. This often leads to overconsumption, increasing the risk of dehydration, liver strain, and poor sleep quality. When combined with sugar and additives, the overall impact on the body can be more significant than consumers realize. Lastly, the brand's focus on volume over craftsmanship means shortcuts are unavoidable. Rapid fermentation, mechanical harvesting, and aggressive filtration remove much of what makes wine a naturally complex beverage. What remains is a standardized product optimized for cost efficiency rather than health or quality. While Carlo Rossi may be nostalgic for some, its production methods and ingredient concerns make it a wine brand that is better left behind. 5. Sutter Home Wine. Sutter Home Wine is often perceived as a harmless, affordable option for casual drinkers, but its production process reveals several concerns that place it firmly on the avoid list. As one of the pioneers of mass-market American wine, Sutter Home focuses on scale, consistency, and cost efficiency rather than grape integrity or minimal processing. To meet massive demand, the brand relies on industrial winemaking techniques that significantly alter the natural composition of wine. One of the biggest issues is sugar manipulation. Many Sutter Home varieties are intentionally made sweeter to appeal to a wide audience, particularly newer wine drinkers. This sweetness often comes from residual sugar left after fermentation or from post-fermentation adjustments using grape concentrates. Excess sugar in wine can contribute to insulin spikes, inflammation, and unwanted calorie intake, especially when consumed regularly. Another major concern is additive usage. Wines produced at this scale often require chemical stabilizers, fining agents, and preservatives to ensure uniform taste and long shelf life across millions of bottles. Sulfites, while naturally occurring, are commonly added at higher levels in mass-produced wines, which may trigger headaches, digestive discomfort, or allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. Sutter Home also sources grapes primarily from conventionally farmed vineyards. Wine grapes are among the most heavily treated crops, frequently sprayed with pesticides, fungicides, and herbicides. Because grape skins are fermented directly into wine, chemical residues can remain present in the final product. Over time, repeated exposure to these residues may contribute to oxidative stress and toxin accumulation. Additionally, rapid fermentation methods used to speed up production often destroy naturally occurring polyphenols and antioxidants, reducing any potential health-related benefits associated with moderate wine consumption. The result is a beverage that offers alcohol and sweetness but lacks nutritional complexity. Packaging and storage further amplify concerns. Wines intended for long distribution cycles are engineered to remain stable under varying temperatures and conditions, requiring even more chemical intervention. Sutter Home's affordability is achieved by sacrificing grape quality, transparency, and traditional winemaking practices. While the brand may feel familiar and accessible, its heavy processing, sugar content, and lack of ingredient disclosure make it a poor choice for consumers seeking cleaner alcohol options. When evaluated beyond price and convenience, Sutter Home represents everything health-conscious drinkers should be cautious of in modern commercial wine production. 6. Apothic Red. Apothic Red markets itself as bold, mysterious, and indulgent, but beneath its dark label lies a highly manipulated wine designed for mass appeal rather than purity or balance. This blend is engineered to deliver intense sweetness, heavy body, and smooth texture, characteristics that often indicate significant post-fermentation adjustments. One of the most concerning aspects of Apothic Red is its elevated residual sugar content. Unlike traditional dry red wines, Apothic leans toward a semi-sweet profile, achieved by halting fermentation fermentation early or adding grape concentrates. This results in a wine that tastes rich and smooth, but delivers hidden sugars that can disrupt blood sugar levels and contribute to inflammation. Another issue is flavor engineering. To maintain consistency across large batches, Apothic relies on aggressive processing techniques that may include oak flavor additives, color stabilization, and fining agents. These methods strip away much of the wine's natural character while replacing it with manufactured depth. The illusion of complexity masks a product that is far removed from traditional winemaking. Sulfite levels are also a concern. To preserve freshness during shipping and storage, Apothic Red contains added sulfites, which can cause headaches, flushing, and fatigue for many drinkers. Individuals sensitive to sulfites often experience symptoms even after one glass. Grape sourcing further raises red flags. Apothic sources grapes from large-scale conventional vineyards where chemical pesticides and fertilizers are commonly used. Since wine grapes are fermented with their skins, any chemical residues present can carry through into the final product. Long-term exposure to these residues is increasingly scrutinized in health research. Alcohol balance is another issue. Apothic's smooth sweetness can mask its alcohol content, encouraging overconsumption. This can place additional strain on the liver, disrupt sleep, and increase dehydration. The wine's engineered drinkability makes it easy to consume more than intended. Finally, the brand's marketing emphasizes mood and image rather than transparency. There is little information available about farming practices, additive use, or production methods. While Apothic Red may appeal to those who enjoy sweet, bold flavors, it represents a highly processed alcoholic beverage with minimal nutritional value. For those aiming to reduce sugar, additives, and chemical exposure, Apothic Red is a wine that should be avoided. 7. Cupcake Vineyards. Cupcake Vineyards presents itself as fun, playful, and approachable, but its branding hides a production process that prioritizes flavor manipulation over wine integrity. Designed to taste smooth, sweet, and dessert-like, cupcake wines often contain higher levels of residual sugar compared to traditional wines. This sweetness is intentional, catering to consumers who prefer easy-drinking beverages, but it comes at a metabolic cost. Excess sugar in wine can contribute to weight gain, blood sugar instability, and increased inflammation. Another concern is the use of flavor adjustments, particularly for sensitive individuals. Not expressions of careful winemaking. While they may taste smooth and appealing, they are far closer to flavored alcoholic beverages than traditional wine. For consumers seeking cleaner options with fewer additives and less sugar, Cupcake Vineyards is a brand best avoided. Now that we've exposed the wine brands that rely heavily on sugar, additives, and aggressive processing, it's time to shift the conversation. Not all wine is created equal, and there are options that respect traditional winemaking, cleaner ingredients, and your long-term health. Let's move into the wine brands that are actually worth considering if you choose to drink. Healthy alternative. Number 1. Bonterra Organic Vineyards. Bonterra Organic Vineyards stands out as one of the most respected clean wine brands in the market, primarily because of its commitment to organic and biodynamic farming practices. Unlike mass-produced wines that prioritize yield and uniformity, Bonterra focuses on soil health, grape integrity, and minimal intervention. Their vineyards are certified organic, meaning synthetic pesticides, herbicides, and chemical fertilizers are strictly prohibited. This significantly reduces the likelihood of chemical residues making their way into the final bottle, an important consideration given how heavily treated conventional wine grapes can be. Another key difference is Bonterra's approach to fermentation and additives. The brand is transparent about minimizing unnecessary processing steps. While sulfites are still present, as they are in most wines, and antioxidants such as resveratrol. While wine should never be consumed for health reasons alone, these compounds are largely destroyed in aggressively processed wines. Bonterra's slower fermentation and minimal filtration allow more of these beneficial compounds to remain intact. Environmental responsibility is another reason Bonterra earns its reputation. The brand invests heavily in sustainable packaging, carbon reduction, and water conservation. This matters because sustainability often correlates with cleaner production methods overall. When a company respects the land, it tends to respect the product and the consumer as well. Bonterra Organic Vineyards proves that wine does not need to be chemically engineered to taste good. It offers a cleaner, more transparent option for those who want to enjoy wine occasionally without excessive additives, sugar, or processing. Healthy alternative number 2, Frey Vineyards. Frey Vineyards is widely regarded as a pioneer in organic and biodynamic winemaking, and it represents one of the cleanest wine options available today. The winery has been producing organic wines since the early 1980s, long before clean wine became a marketing trend. Frey's vineyards are certified organic and biodynamic, meaning the focus extends beyond avoiding chemicals to actively nurturing soil biodiversity, microbial life, and natural ecosystem balance. One of the most important distinctions of Frey vineyards is its minimal intervention philosophy. The wines are fermented using native yeasts rather than laboratory-engineered strains. This allows the wine to develop naturally. The flavors come from grape variety, soil, and fermentation rather than manipulation. The absence of synthetic chemicals in both the vineyard and winery significantly reduces toxin exposure. Since wine grapes are fermented with their skins, choosing organically grown grapes is especially important. Frey's strict standards ensure that pesticide residues and synthetic additives are not part of the final product. Frey Vineyards also avoids aggressive filtration, allowing beneficial compounds to remain intact. These include antioxidants and polyphenols that are often destroyed in industrial winemaking. While wine should always be consumed in moderation, Frey's approach preserves what little natural value wine can offer. Overall, Frey Vineyards represents the opposite of mass-market wine production. It prioritizes transparency, minimal processing, chemical additives, heavy sulfite use. It's about awareness. When you know what's behind the label, you can make smarter choices without giving up enjoyment. If this breakdown helped you see wine differently, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. We're breaking down everyday foods, drinks, and products so you can protect your health without falling for marketing tricks.